I am here on Reddit today because of a very unexpected situation I am facing. Years ago, my high school girlfriend, Gigi at the time, and I got pregnant unexpectedly. We had always been careful, but I guess sometimes life has its own plans. When Gigi discovered she was pregnant, she went ballistic as she had always dreamed of pursuing her career as a model and argued that getting pregnant meant giving up on all those dreams. Throughout college, she had been working various part-time gigs and going for auditions, so I knew how much her career meant for her. I empathized deeply with her aspirations and assured her that I would support whatever choice she made. It was important to me that she knew I was there for her, no matter what. Unfortunately, we found out that her pregnancy was too far along to consider termination. This news was devastating for Gigi, as it felt like all her dreams were slipping away, and it put her in a very difficult position. In the midst of this, our families reacted very differently to the news. My parents immediately stepped forward, offering to take responsibility and support us in any way they could. They were ready to help us through this new phase in life and ensure the best for the baby. However, Gigi and her mother had a completely different perspective. They were vehement about giving the baby up for adoption after birth. Gigi's mom believed that this was the best way to ensure that Gigi could continue pursuing her dreams guilt-free without the burden of motherhood hanging over her head. My parents and I were firmly against this idea. I assured Gigi and her mother repeatedly that I would take full responsibility for the child, promising that Gigi wouldn't have to do anything for our baby if she chose not to. I tried to convince them that we could find a way to make it work without giving up the baby. Despite my assurances, they kept insisting that giving up the baby and cutting all contact was the right choice. Gigi was particularly adamant about this because she feared that if she gave the baby to me, there might be a chance I would try to involve her in the baby's life later on. She wanted to avoid that potential drama entirely, ensuring a clean break so she could move forward without any ties or guilt. I spent days begging and reassuring Gigi that after she gave up her parental rights, I would never contact her again about the baby. I promised her that she could go on to live her life without ever having to think about the child, completely guilt-free. Eventually, both she and her mom were convinced, and that is exactly what happened. After Gigi gave birth to our baby girl, Diana, she recovered and resumed her life. My parents and I took on the full responsibility of caring for Diana. Initially, balancing my studies with caring for a newborn was challenging, but I've never regretted my decision. Seeing my daughter grow and thrive brought me immense joy and a sense of purpose. Throughout the rest of my college years, Gigi avoided me completely. She never once inquired about our daughter, and I stayed true to my promise, never bothering her about it. My focus was entirely on raising Diana and building a stable life for us. Diana meant everything to me, and it's hard to put into words just how deep my love was for her. They say there's a special bond between fathers and their daughters, and from the moment I first saw her in the hospital, I knew that was true. It was an overwhelming feeling when I held her in my arms, like my entire universe suddenly centered around her. She brought an indescribable purpose into my life. I can't even count the number of times my classmates would tease me about becoming a dad too soon. They would say I was missing out on life and that I should be out having fun, not changing diapers and worrying about a baby. Despite their comments, I never paid any heed to them because they didn't understand the bond I had with Diana or how fulfilling it was to watch her grow and learn. Sure, my college experience was vastly different from theirs, but looking back, I wouldn't have traded it for anything. Every milestone Diana reached, every smile, and every little moment we shared made all my sacrifices worth it. I worked tirelessly to graduate from college with good grades while juggling a part-time job to support my daughter. Being a single parent is incredibly challenging, so I'm immensely thankful to my parents for those days when they stepped in and did their best to watch over my daughter whenever they could. From babysitting Diana when I had late-night study sessions before my exams to offering advice and a listening ear when it got too frustrating for me, their unwavering love and support helped me navigate the toughest times. My parents' selflessness and dedication allowed me to focus on my studies and provided for my child without feeling too overwhelmed. When I finally graduated college, secured a stable job, and saved up enough money, I was overjoyed to move out with Diana into our very own place. It was a milestone moment for us both. I took great care in choosing each piece of furniture, decorating Diana's room, and making sure everything was perfect for us. This wasn't just about having a roof over our heads, it was about creating a space where we could make new memories and feel truly settled. In the first few years after moving out, it was just Diana and me. I would go to work at my office, pick her up from daycare, and we would then head home together. After freshening up, I would help her with homework while preparing dinner and prepping her lunch for the next day. Gradually, I got the hang of managing everything on my own. Sure, there were times when exhaustion hit, and I had to call my parents for help, but for the most part, I was always there for my daughter, and she could count on me for anything. Being her parent was my first priority, and seeing her grow and thrive as a happy child was incredibly rewarding. When Diana was 5 years old, I met her stepmother and the love of my life, Chloe. Chloe was a divorcee who had come out of an abusive marriage. Despite her difficult past, she was an incredibly kind and compassionate woman. The way she interacted with Diana was what truly made me fall in love with her. Chloe understood how important Diana was to me, and she embraced her wholeheartedly. Seeing the bond they formed and how naturally Chloe took on the role of a loving figure in Diana's life made me realize that she was the one I wanted to share my life with. When Chloe and I got married, Diana was our flower girl. I still have those adorable pictures from our wedding, showing how she never left our side throughout the entire ceremony. She looked so sweet and happy, and it warmed my heart to see her being part of such a special day. The wedding was a joyous occasion for everyone, and our little family was surrounded by love and support. My parents, in particular, were overjoyed. They cried tears of happiness because they knew how much I had struggled over the years. Seeing me finally find love and build a happy family meant the world to them. It was a beautiful day, filled with love, laughter, and the promise of a bright future together. Over the years, Chloe consistently proved to be a loving stepmother to Diana, caring for her as if she were her own daughter. After moving into a larger home that Chloe and I purchased together, I tragically lost my parents to health issues. This period was devastating for me, and perhaps why I couldn't give Diana the attention I used to. It was during this time that Diana started facing bullying in high school. Some of her friends found out from their gossiping mothers that Chloe wasn't actually Diana's biological mother. It didn't help that Chloe has blonde hair and a sharper nose, while Diana has brown curls and different facial features, making it clear they didn't look alike. When Diana's friends started to tease her about it at school, she became sad and withdrawn. They would say cruel things like her biological mom probably abandoned her because she never loved her and that Chloe would eventually abandon her too. At the time, I had no idea what Diana was going through. She kept her pain to herself, and it wasn't until things had escalated that I realized how much she was hurting. One day, we received a call from the principal's office because Diana had allegedly attacked another student and broken her nose. When I heard this news, I was shocked to my core because my daughter had always been gentle and kind-hearted. Chloe and I rushed to the school, anxious to find out what had happened. In the principal's office, we learned that Diana had been relentlessly teased by this other girl for a long time. Finally, pushed to her limit, Diana had taken matters into her own hands and thrown a stone at her tormentor in a fit of anger and frustration. Hearing about the bullying Diana had endured filled me with a mixture of anger and sadness. I wanted to confront the other child and her parents right then and there, ready to defend my daughter fiercely. But Chloe, always level-headed, managed to calm me down. The other girl's parents insisted that Diana apologize, but I was livid. I threatened to take legal action against them and the school for allowing my daughter to be mentally harassed for so long. I argued passionately, pointing out the severity of bullying and how it had pushed Diana to her breaking point. I made it clear that bullying a minor was unacceptable and that they had no right to let their daughter's behavior escalate to this extent. My strong reaction seemed to intimidate them, and they backed down, deciding not to pursue the matter further. I never scolded Diana for what she did because, deep down, I understood the pain and torment she had endured for months before finally standing up for herself. It was a heartbreaking situation, but I was proud of Diana for finding the courage to defend herself, even though it came at such a drastic cost. After that incident, I knew it was time to have a candid conversation with Diana about her biological mother, Gigi. Until then, Diana had some vague awareness about why Gigi was not part of our lives, but I had never fully disclosed the details to her. I sat down with Diana and explained openly about how Gigi and I had become parents at a very young age and why Gigi made the decision she did to leave us. I reassured Diana that Gigi's choice had nothing to do with her. I explained that sometimes adults are not equipped to take care of children, and that was the case with Gigi. I also made sure to highlight how fortunate Diana was to have Chloe in her life. I told her that Chloe loved her deeply and cared for her as her own child, willing to do anything for her well-being. I wanted Diana to understand that family isn't just about biology but about love, care, and the people who are there for us unconditionally. After our conversation, I hoped Diana would have moved past her curiosity about her bio mom, but a few weeks later, she confided in me that she was trying to reach out to Gigi. I was deeply concerned for her because I knew how firmly Gigi had asked to never be contacted again. Despite my warnings, Diana was determined, and it worried me greatly that she might face disappointment or rejection. When Diana finally got in touch with Gigi, she excitedly told me that her biological mom was happy to hear from her and wanted to meet up. I couldn't help but feel skeptical about this sudden change, considering Gigi had never attempted to contact me about Diana over the years, even though my contact information remained unchanged. I voiced my doubts to Diana, expressing how difficult it was for me to believe Gigi's newfound enthusiasm. Despite my reservations, Diana was thrilled and believed Gigi's words wholeheartedly. She quickly made plans to meet her bio mom at a mall and insisted on going alone. I firmly insisted that I accompany her, at least to drop her off and verify if it really was Gigi. Reluctantly, Diana agreed to my condition. On the day of the meeting, I drove Diana to the mall where she was supposed to meet Gigi. When we arrived, I scanned the crowd anxiously, searching for any sign of Gigi, half expecting her to not even show up. Suddenly, Diana spotted her. She pointed excitedly, and my eyes followed her gaze. There, standing not too far away, was Gigi. She seemed genuinely happy to see Diana, and they embraced warmly. It was a surreal moment, seeing Diana reunited with her bio mom. I stood back, giving them their space but keeping a watchful eye. Seeing Diana's smile and the way she interacted with Gigi eased some of my initial doubts. It was clear that this meeting meant a lot to Diana, and despite my concerns, I couldn't deny her the chance to connect with her biological mother. Gigi greeted me politely, and assured me that she would bring Diana home after their conversation was done. She expressed gratitude for the opportunity to meet her daughter and appeared genuinely sincere. Feeling a mix of emotions, I decided to leave them to talk and give Diana this important moment. Several hours later, as promised, Gigi returned Diana home. My daughter looked flushed with excitement, clearly having enjoyed her time with her biological mother. When I asked Diana about their conversation, she eagerly recounted how wrong I had been about Gigi for all these years. According to Diana, her bio mother had expressed regret over her decision to not be a part of our daughter's life and seemed genuinely remorseful for her actions. Diana went on to tell me that Gigi wanted to be a part of her life now, and this is what she wanted as well. Hearing Diana's words stirred conflicting emotions within me. Part of me was relieved that Diana had a positive experience with her bio mom and that Gigi seemed sincere in her regret. Yet, another part of me felt cautious, still processing the sudden shift in Gigi's stance after all these years. I couldn't help but wonder about the implications of this newfound connection for our family and how it might impact Diana moving forward. Chloe reassured me that I couldn't control the situation and that all we could do was hope Gigi wouldn't harm or emotionally affect Diana in the future. Over the following weeks, Diana began regularly meeting her biological mother every other weekend for a few hours. Initially, I was supportive as much as I could be, wanting Diana to explore this newfound relationship. However, I started noticing a pattern. Each time Diana went to meet Gigi, she would ask me for money beforehand. Initially, I assumed it was for personal expenses, but it became clear that Gigi expected Diana to pay for their meals whenever they met. I was puzzled and concerned, so I asked Diana why Gigi didn't offer to cover these costs. Diana explained that Gigi was facing financial difficulties at the time but assured me that her bio mom was actively searching for a job and would soon be in a better position. As odd as this arrangement seemed to me, I chose to let it go for the sake of Diana's happiness. I wanted to support her in maintaining this relationship with her biological mother without adding unnecessary stress or tension. My priority was ensuring that Diana felt supported and loved, even if it meant accepting certain compromises along the way. However, I began to notice items disappearing from the house. It started with seemingly minor things, such as Chloe's cherished ancestral cups and saucers, which were wedding gifts from her grandmother. Initially, we dismissed it, thinking they might have been misplaced. However, when my wife discovered that some of her expensive clothes and lingerie were also disappearing from her closet, our concern grew considerably. The situation baffled us because we couldn't understand where these missing items were ending up. Naturally, we turned to Diana for answers, hoping she might have some explanation. Each time we asked her, she adamantly swore that she had no idea about the missing items or their whereabouts. She blamed Chloe for being careless and told me that she was probably overreacting. Decided to install cameras in our common areas at my wife's insistence, hoping to catch any potential intruders who might be stealing from us. One day, Chloe couldn't find her wedding ring anywhere. Normally, she would leave it on our bedside stand before heading to the gym for her workout. I followed the same routine with my ring because they were both valuable and we wanted to keep them safe from any potential damage in the gym. When Chloe returned home, she couldn't locate her ring despite searching everywhere. She was visibly upset and anxious by the time I got home. We decided to review the footage from our security cameras together to see if they could provide any clues. As we watched the recorded footage, what we saw shocked us and left us questioning everything we thought we knew. It turned out that whenever we were not at home, Diana would roam around the house and take things that didn't belong to her. As we watched the footage from our security cameras, we witnessed Diana entering our bedroom and emerging with something in her hand, a clear image of my wife's wedding ring. When I confronted Diana about the theft, she initially denied any involvement. However, I calmly showed her the incriminating footage. Her expression turned pale as she realized she had been caught red-handed. Sensing her distress, I asked her gently to explain herself. I wanted to understand why she had resorted to stealing from us. Chloe asked her if she had stolen her clothes and lingerie as well, and this is when Diana burst out crying. She finally confessed that she had been stealing from Chloe for months as a form of revenge. She told us that she had grown to resent the fact that Chloe and I were married. Diana expressed that she wanted me to leave Chloe and to consider reconciling with her biological mother, Gigi, because according to my daughter, Gigi still harbored feelings for me and regretted our breakup. I was pissed hearing my daughter's words. I tried to remain calm but firm as I explained to her that she was being very delusional. I assured her that my love and commitment to Chloe were firm and that her relationship with her bio mother was separate from my marriage. I emphasized that I couldn't undo the past and that her expectations for me to leave Chloe were unrealistic and unfair to me. However, Diana's emotions boiled over when I did not agree to her. She erupted in anger, shouting accusations that I was the one who had abandoned Gigi all those years ago and asserted that Chloe could never replace her biological mother. She argued that for her sake, I should at least try to be in a relationship with her bio mother since she has always dreamed of having a family where her bio parents were married to each other. Her outburst shook me deeply. I expressed my frustration, telling her how exhausting it was to hear these childish demands after everything I had sacrificed for her over the years. I reminded Diana of all the love and care Chloe had shown her over the years. I pointed out the sacrifices Chloe had made, the support she had given, and how she had embraced Diana as her own daughter. I told her that she was being ungrateful and unfair by expecting me to leave my wife for Gigi. This is when the situation with my daughter took a disturbing turn when, instead of understanding my firm stance, she made a shocking threat. Diana threatened me that she would falsely accuse Chloe of sexual assault and grooming if I didn't leave her immediately. I was stunned and deeply troubled by her words, unsure of where such ideas could have come from. Diana went on to tell me that she had watched enough documentaries to know that this could potentially put Chloe in jail for life and I would lose my wife forever. I asked her if she had lost her mind since this was a pretty serious allegation, and Diana revealed that she was willing to make Chloe's life as miserable as possible, but assured me that it could all stop if I simply started dating her bio mother. I stared at my daughter and for the first time, I felt disgust and fear towards her. She was behaving like a deranged person. Clearly, she had taken her own delusions seriously and had potentially also been influenced and manipulated by her biological mother. I couldn't believe how low my daughter was willing to go to make her twisted dreams of getting me and her bio mother together come true. When my wife, Chloe, learned about Diana's willingness to make false accusations, she immediately informed me that she could no longer live under the same roof as my daughter. She was concerned that Diana might not be in the right state of mind and that her false threats could irreparably damage our life permanently for no valid reason. I understood her reaction and felt compelled to teach Diana a profound lesson about accountability and responsibility, since she would never learn if I went soft on her after the way she had just threatened us. This is why I informed Diana that since she trusted her bio mother so much and she was anyways going to be 18 soon, I wanted her to move out immediately and live with Gigi. I assured her that I would continue to support her financially until she turned 18, but I could no longer allow her to live with us. I told her that she needed to fund her own college education or seek assistance from her beloved bio mom. Diana had no idea until then that Chloe had set up a trust fund for her, so she would have never needed to take out a loan for her education. However, given the circumstances, I didn't want my ungrateful daughter to get a penny out of it, so we had decided to not give her any access to it whatsoever. Diana did try to protest and fight back against my decision. She even resorted to making more vile threats about ruining my life and career, but I didn't listen to her. I called Gigi and asked her to come pick up our daughter. That shameless woman had no remorse on her face when I confronted her about why she had put these disgusting ideas into our daughter's head, since this is not how my daughter ever behaved before. Gigi simply shrugged her shoulders, telling me that it was Diana's dream to see us both together and that it was never too late for us to give it a try. I cringed hearing her words and simply refused to interact with her any further after that. I handed Diana some money and watched my daughter drive away with her bio mother after packing up her things. Diana never contacted me after that day, even though I continued to send her money every week. When my daughter graduated from high school, I learned that she had been accepted into a reputable university with a partial scholarship. She needed help covering the remaining fund, and it wasn't long before Gigi contacted me. She told me that I needed to step up and pay the money required since she didn't want Diana to take out a student loan. I told her there were thousands of students every year who took out student loans for completing their education, and Diana should do the same so she could learn the meaning of hard work also. I told her since she was the one who had put all those poisonous ideas into our daughter's head, she should be the one stepping up since I had done more than enough for Diana. I knew Gigi and Diana couldn't even threaten legal action on me since Diana was now an adult and any legal obligation would not hold against me anymore. After this conversation, I blocked Gigi for my own peace of mind. Several months passed without any contact from either her or my daughter. However, everything changed yesterday when Diana called me in tears. She sounded deeply distressed and pleaded with me to listen to her. I was in the middle of a very important meeting, but I still left it so I could be there for my daughter. Diana explained to me on the phone how Gigi had not supported her in securing a place at her dream university, causing her to lose her seat. As a result, Diana had no choice but to find work at a fast food restaurant for the time being. Apparently Gigi did not want her to live at her place for free, hence Diana had been paying Gigi rent every month. Diana tearfully asked if she could move back home and apologized to both me and Chloe in person for what she had done. She admitted that I had been right about Gigi all along, but also blamed me for not teaching her any better. Honestly, it is hard to trust my daughter again after what she was willing to accuse my wife of. The thought of her making such false allegations again on Chloe looms large in my mind even today. Despite this, she is still my daughter, and I love her deeply. So, I offered her what I believed was a fair compromise. I told her that I would pay her rent each month so she could find a new place to live. This would allow her to save her earnings instead of paying rent to her mother. I even told her that I would help her out with college eventually. However, upon hearing this, my daughter reacted with anger, hurling insults at Chloe and me. She accused me of being useless, claimed that I never loved her, and even wished that I was dead. Her words made me realize how little she had truly learned over the past months. Despite her outburst, I held firm in my decision, and refused to give in to her demands. So, Reddit Ida for not letting my daughter move back in and forgiving her entirely for her past actions? Update 1. Clearing up a few things here. Looking back, Diana's behavior was changing a lot towards Chloe every time she came back home after visiting her bio mom. She would sometimes call Chloe degrading words like old hag or witch whenever they had any disagreement. Chloe and I foolishly assumed that Diana was just going through a phase and would eventually grow out of it. Threatening to falsely accuse someone of sexual assault and grooming is a serious thing. Even if Chloe is a woman, it doesn't mean that Chloe could not have gotten in trouble with the authorities had Diana made the complaint against her. How can I ask my wife to stay with my daughter under one roof after that? Also, Diana continues to clearly hate her, so I think it's too risky to let my daughter stay with us ever again. I did not refuse to pay my daughter's college fees out of spite. I felt it was also an important lesson for her to see just how less her mother was willing to sacrifice for her. Also, if tomorrow your child can threaten you with such vile things and you choose to turn a blind eye to them, you are just teaching them that they can get away with anything. God knows what they can do in the future if they are not taught a lesson. Also, all Gigi needed to do was help Diana take out a student loan and be her co-signer, but she clearly chose not to do that. Update 2. I have talked to Diana and she has finally agreed to let me pay for her rent. She is looking at new places currently. I took some of your advice and I will be sending the rent check directly to the landlord of the house so Gigi won't be able to steal the money from Diana. Also, I plan on having a conversation with Diana regarding her going back to college. Of course, this time, Chloe won't help out with anything because it's not her responsibility. Update 3. So Diana is all settled into her new home now. She and I recently met up for lunch and we discussed her future plans. She apologized to me profusely for everything that happened between us and understood why Chloe no longer wants to have a relationship with her. I've assured Diana that I'll support her in starting college next year if she wants to, so she has agreed on working hard this year and saving as much money as possible. Gigi is furious that she has lost Diana's paychecks, but there is nothing much she can do at the moment since I have her blocked and Diana is no longer speaking to her as well.